In the evening with the invocation by the Reverend Nathan Washburn of the First Baptist Church in Greenbrier, be followed by the pledge of the flag.
Thank you. Would you pray with me? Father, we want to come here tonight and we want to ask for wisdom. You say that if anyone lacks wisdom, let him ask of God, who gives to all generously and without reproach. And so, Father, we know that it's a promise that we have from you, that when we ask you for wisdom, that you'll give it to us. Father, along with wisdom, I thank you for these men and women who have been elected to serve in this capacity. And Father, I pray that you give them clarity tonight for whatever issues may arise and whatever they're going to talk through. I pray that you give them clarity from all sides to be able to see issues. Father, I pray that you would give them a spirit of integrity to act what's within accordance to the laws, in accordance with your will, and in accordance with the desires that you've placed in their hearts to do the best good for the greatest number of people. Father, I pray that you'd give them a spirit of unity on decisions, Lord, as they come before you to present a decision or vote in certain ways. Father, I pray that you'd just give them a spirit of unity and camaraderie as they come together. And Father, above all, I just pray that you just give them a spirit of wisdom and discernment, but also just a fellowship, Father, to do what is best for our county. Thank you for electing and bringing into to power these men and women, Father, and I pray now that you would give them this wisdom, clarity, integrity, and, Father, a spirit of unity tonight. Father, may everything be done to your glory and for the good of your people. And we pray this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Commissioners, if you'll press yes and confirm, you'll be registered into the voter system. There being 20 commissioners present and 4 absent, I declare that we do have a quorum. Commissioners, you have the minutes from the June meeting. What's your pleasure? A motion by DeOrio and a second by Commissioner Jackson. They be received and ordered filed. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those no, so the minutes are approved. Very briefly, under communications, I'd like to commend our animal control officers and volunteers. As most of you know, they recently had a completely unexpected parvo outbreak. We're very grateful to First Southern Restoration, who came in at no cost to the county and completely cleaned all the kennels and cages and so forth and got us back up and running in about 3 or 4 days. So it was a very traumatic time for those folks there. So grateful to them for what they've done for us. This weekend comes up the 44th, I think, annual Thresherman Show in Adams. If you hadn't been in a while, you want to come out and go to the Thresherman Show this weekend. I think the parade is Saturday at 10. The Mayor's Back to School Bash coming up August 3rd at Springfield Middle School. We were able to help about 800 children last year. If your business or your organization would like to participate in that, if you'll contact my office, we'll make it possible for you to be a part of that big day. Big River is at Springfield Middle School by the Robertson County Players. It's been greatly hailed as perhaps the best musical that they've ever done, and there's 3 more performances coming up Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, so do yourself a favor and come out and see Big River. At this time, the chair is going to ask for a motion to make Mr. Mike Davis, our new Director of Schools, a member of this body, and for a few welcoming comments. I have a motion by Commissioner Jones and a second by Commissioner Eden. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those no. So, Professor Davis, the podium is yours. You are now a member of this august body. Mr. Mike Davis, Director of Schools.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you, County Commissioner, for all voting aye. I didn't hear any nays, so that's a positive. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure and a privilege and an honor for me to be here in Robertson County. I look forward to working with you in the months and years ahead. I think there's a lot of opportunity here, and I've told everyone everywhere I've been, we don't have any problems in Robertson County. we have some challenges, and challenges present opportunities for us to do things, to accomplish things. And as you all know, and I'm sure you've been told, when we are a part of an organization such as a school board or a county commission, we have a legacy that we're going to leave behind. And we want that legacy to be one of something that has been accomplished, that has benefited the entire county and community as a part of our legacy. So it is truly an honor to be here. A little bit later, and I won't get into the subject that Chairman Adcock is going to bring before you about some help that we need. It's really not going to cost you any money at this point. It will when we roll the thing over into a bond issue down the road and build a building, but we really need to get started on this. I had my folks do a little survey for me this past week, and I wanted to know how many portable classrooms we currently have in Robertson County. And we have 52 portable classrooms. Of course, 3 of those are used not for classrooms, but for office space and for teacher centers, that kind of thing. But 49 of them are used to house students, and that's where they go to class. Now, I know a lot of people say, well, I went to a portable, it wasn't all that bad, and that kind of thing. 49 portables, if you multiply that times 20 students, you've got somewhere between 900 and 1,000 students getting their education in a portable classroom. This new building project that we're talking about will enable us to do away with most, if not all, of those portables and provide a safer environment for our children. First thing is safety. Safety from storms, like the teachers out in Moore, Oklahoma, who actually laid on top of their students to protect them from a storm. You don't want a storm to come to students in a portable. We have to bring them into a hardened site. And every time it comes a bad storm, it doesn't even have to be a tornado, we've got to bring them inside or that interrupts their education. So it's something that is really needed. It's needed from the standpoint that obviously our school system is overcrowded and doesn't have sufficient space to educate the youth. Those are the people that are going to be sitting in your chairs 20 years from now, governing the county. So let's give them the best education they can get so they can make good decisions for the next generation. Again, it is an honor and a privilege for me to be in Robertson County. I think my couple of board members here, I thought Mr. Hurd's here, Mr. Payne's here. Appreciate you all coming this evening. I'm going to work with these folks. They're my bosses. I'm going to deliver the message to you whenever they give me one to deliver, and we're going to do the very best we can do to make Robertson County the very best place it can be to live and raise a family and enjoy life. So thank you very much. I appreciate you, Mayor, for giving me a few moments in this meeting. Thank you.
We'll have you back in just a bit. Under reports, the first one the chair has is from Solid Waste 7.1. 7.2 is the Veteran Service Officer. 7.3 is the County Trustee Statement. 7.4 is from Animal Control. 7.5 is the Planning Commission. 7.6 is the Inmate Expense Report. 7.7 is the Financial Report. 7.8 is a report from Royal McBain Public Library. 7.9 is from the Fire Service. 7.10 is from the Highway Department. 7.11 is EMS. And those are the reports the chair has. What's your pleasure? I have a motion by Commissioner Jones and a second by Commissioner Darsh. All those in favor say aye. Aye. So they are approved. I recognize now Commissioner Billy Vogel, who's chairman of the nominating committee for the list of the July committees. Commissioner Vogel.
Mr. Chairman, Madam Clerks, fellow commissioners, and ladies and gentlemen of Robertson County. Nomination committee met this afternoon, and I'm going to get a second first, and I'll read what I've got.
Second by Commissioner Baggett.
We had the Ethics Committee, Library Board, Robertson County, and of course the Regional, and then the Highland Crest terms. Okay, the Ethics Committee, we got Jonathan Gardner, Robert Farmer, Frankie Fletcher, Randy Wilson, Neil Sullivan. This is a yearly appointment. The Library Board Regional, we've decided to delay this till maybe the September meeting because of some personal reasons. So we're just going to lay that 1 month. The library board, Robertson County, which is a 3-year term, we've got Jonathan Gardner, Cindy Sneed, and Philip Morris is replacing Linda Thompson. That'd be the year 2016. And the Highland Crest is 2-year terms. Ms. Brown's going to be replaced by Dr. Grant Bale, has agreed to take this spot, and Jeffrey Butcher. And that's it.
Motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no, so they are elected. Thank you, Mr. Burke. This time is for matter of public hearing and zoning. I'm going to recognize Mrs. Martha Wilkinson, who is our Director of Planning. If you're here to speak in favor of or in opposition to this rezoning resolution, if you'll please stand and state your name for the clerk, you'll be recognized at the appropriate time. Ms. Martha.
Our one and only resolution for rezoning tonight is for Mr. and Ms. Anthony Pfizer. They were requesting that 2.28 acres of property located on South Garrett Road, the 9th Civil District, the 11th Voting District, have a change of zoning from AG2 to R40, which is low density residential. The Planning Commission reviewed this at our last meeting and a vote of 7-0 for you to rezone.
Anyone to speak to this resolution? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing at this time and bring this rezoning resolution back to the commission for your consideration. Have a motion for approval by Commissioner DeOrio, and please second it on your desk there. Second by Commissioner Jackson. Ready to vote. If you're in favor of this resolution, vote yes and confirm. If you're opposed, vote no and confirm at this time. 20 votes in favor, none opposed, and 4 absent. I declare that resolution approved. Thank you, Ms. Martin. I recognize now Commissioner Larry DeOrio for resolution to amend building codes for Robertson County. Commissioner DeOrio.
Mr. Mayor, Madam Clerks, fellow commissioners, and members of the audience, bring before you resolution number 0715130053. It's a resolution to amend the building codes for Robertson County. If I can get a second.
A motion and a second by Commissioner Bryant. This is full, Mr.
We have been down this road last month. I'd like to say that we need to adopt these new codes. And if there are any questions that I can't answer, we've got the building official, and I think everybody's had ample opportunity. We've had 3 different meetings, and everybody's had an opportunity to get the books. So we need further clarification. We've got the people here to take care of it this evening.
Commissioner Ray.
Did you say 5-3 or 5-2?
5-3. Is the
5-3
rest?
is the sprinkler?
No, sir. We're not.
The resolution C has been withdrawn, so we're dealing with resolution B.
Okay, resolution B, but the sprinkler resolution has been withdrawn. It has nothing to do with what we're working on this evening.
I was just looking at my sheet and said 5-2.
Okay.
That's the reason I asked.
Right, to replace the 2003.
As a point of order, and I think most of you know that, but let me go ahead and state this for the record. In order for any new restrictions on sprinklers to come into effect, it requires 2 special sessions and then a 2/3 vote of the commission, or 16 votes in order to do that. 2 special sessions and then 2/3 votes to do that. So barring a request either of the chair or of the planning commission to convene a special session, that will not come up. That will be in your hands. So we're dealing with the adoption of the International Building Codes. Questions or comments? Question has been called for. Seeing no opposition to question being put, if you're in favor of this resolution, vote yes and confirm. If you're opposed, vote no and confirm at this time. There being 20 votes in favor, none opposed, and 4 absent, I declare that resolution approved. Under new resolutions, I'm going to recognize now Commissioner Adcock, who's Chairman of Building and Grounds, for a resolution authorizing Train Corporation. And Mr. Malden is here. Commissioner Adcock, if you'd like to move to make him a member at some point, he has an abbreviated presentation.
All right, well, I so move.
Have a motion to make Mr. Randy Malden of Train a member of this body. Second by Commissioner Bryant. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Randy, if you'll come up. Yes, if you will, present the resolution, and then Mr. Malden will explain a little more detail.
This resolution is 0715130055. The resolution authorizing Train Corporation to conduct a survey of our county buildings. And I'll turn it over.
That's it. Second on that motion. Let me get a second to Commissioner Adcock's motion. Second by Commissioner Dorio. Mr. Malden.
Thank you very much. Appreciate the opportunity to be here tonight with you. I hope everyone has a copy of this in front of them. Gives you a little bit more detail. If you do not, just let me know and I'll be happy to bring a copy over to you. Tonight I'm here to talk about 3 things for your county buildings. Number 1 is how you can get new equipment, new technology in your buildings. Number 2, how to save drastic amount of energy dollars. And number 3, how to do this without it costing you or your taxpayer base a penny. And in our presentation, you're going to see you've heard the words performance contracting before. And the United States government, the Department of Energy, has a definition for performance contracting and how this can work for you. And you can see, and I will go fairly fast on this for you too, but you can see how it is defined by the United States government. It does not replace your operating budget. It does not replace your capital budget that you do have. This provides a third stream of revenue for you that you're currently paying right now, redirecting it to make improvements to your buildings. What we look at in the initial survey that we've done so far, we look at gas costs, electric costs, and water and sewer costs. We can determine that we can go into your buildings right now and we can find savings in those 3 areas, take that revenue that you're currently spending on that right now, and create a stream of opportunity here for you to improve your buildings. So it's not going to cost anything more than what you're paying right now. Additionally, the partnership that Train's bringing to Robertson County as well to go after utility rebates, grants that are available to county governments right now. And we are certified ESCO, that's part of what we can do also. So again, it's just your tax dollars these are your savings, they can be combined into tax dollars. This is what you're currently losing right now in the inefficiency of your equipment, of your building envelopes, and other issues like that we can address for you too. And take that money right there and put it back into your buildings. That's the goal of this, and get you some additional savings. Again, right now, what you're currently spending right now, what we try to do is address this, identify savings, and put that to your project cost, but also give you some net savings to begin with right now as well. So that can save you money off of your annual report as well, off your annual budget. Operational savings, what we address, why use this is to go after these areas here. We know that your budgets are shrinking. We know that your costs to operate your buildings are going up, to run your lights, to air condition and heat your buildings as well. That cost is going up. Budgets are shrinking also. So this is a tool that, I'm not going to say a new tool, it's an improved tool that Train has that we can come and present to you and help save you money with your buildings. What we've done right now, just to see where we are with this, we've taken a look at 13 of your buildings in the county government buildings. We've determined right now, this is about a 30,000 foot view of your buildings. We've determined right now that we can save approximately $34,000 a year right now at this point. That tells us, yes, there is an opportunity here for you to take advantage of a project like this. The first step of this was no obligation to you. And so the second step is also going to be no obligation to you too. What we've done so far, introduction to performance contracting, met with county officials, met with other people, the maintenance staff, your operations staff of your county buildings. We've done that. Feasibility study is what we've done, and tonight I'm presenting the feasibility results to you. Excuse me. Our next step of this is our preliminary audit. Our preliminary audit is where we bring more people in. Right now, we've done the feasibility study being a utility analysis of what you're currently spending. To benchmark you to other counties that we have done this same project in also, and determine that yes, there is a savings, and we've identified areas in other counties close by that we can make these savings for you as well. So your next step is your preliminary audit. That's where we bring in more people to go through your buildings thoroughly. This is what we're asking you for your permission to do, is go through your buildings more thoroughly. Look at the infrastructure of your building. What's above the ceilings? What's in the basements? How's your building envelope and your roofs looking? So take a look at those. We come back and present a preliminary proposal to you. Again, no obligation at this step. The first step that a financial obligation will be made will be at the investment grade audit. The investment grade audit is where we hire, Train does, a third-party engineering firm to come in and take a look to see and justify everything that we have done so far. Does make sense, does make financial sense to you as well. Okay. Again, more audit targets here for you. We look at, you're familiar with Train with air conditioning, you're familiar with Train and heating. We look at lights, we look at water, we look at building envelope, we look at roofs, we look at foundations. That's what the third-party engineering firm does. That's the specialist we bring in during the preliminary audit as well. So we take a thorough look at your buildings to determine where we can find savings for you, possibly taking new units, recommission those, get those operational efficiently, and with the savings, replace some of the equipment that you're looking at to possibly replace in your capital budget over the next 5 years, 10 years. You can do that now and get the savings for that now. But you can see there's other areas there, even renewable energy. I know a lot of people talk about solar, talk about other green technologies. We look at those as well too, to determine if that is a good fit for you. A good example of an engineered lighting situation. This is in a county just to the east of us here. What they were spending this is a school classroom. This is what they were spending per day, $1.12 a day for that classroom just on lighting alone. And now spending 28 cents a day. That's what we're able to make those changes. When you look at some of the issues too, I don't know how good you can see it in the picture, but the ceiling was open here, had drop lights. We went and we actually lowered the ceiling in the classroom. Not only that affected a few other things, it affected acoustics for teachers to make them have a comfortable teaching environment. It also affected the heating and air conditioning of that space as well, in addition to the lighting. Again, Train, you've heard about us. A couple things this program does. We do reconciliations annually because your books are done annually. So when we say we can come in and we can look and say we can save you out of $1, we're going to save you 30 cents out of that dollar. We're going to take that 30 cents and invest that for you into the system, into the program. If we say at the end of the year, we say we're going to guarantee that we're going to save you $20,000, so let's say $50,000 a year, and we save you $60,000 a year, you keep that. That's yours. If we say we're going to save you $50,000 a year and we only save you $40,000, we write a check for the change, for the shortage, $10,000. And we do that on an annual basis. That's the Train difference as well for this type of program. Okay. Again, what's next? The first step of this is complete. The first step we've done that, the utility analysis, and determined there is a project here at the 30,000 foot level. Our next step is the preliminary audit that we'd like to do in your buildings. Get your approval that you understand what we're talking about, that we want to go through and survey your buildings for you, and come back with a project for you that says, here's something that will cash flow for you, budget neutral project. That's what we want to come back and present to you. And then the third step, if you like what you see after the initial proposal and the preliminary presentation, you can move forward with the project. We work with everybody here in the county. We work with your county maintenance staff, your directors of maintenance, your operations staff as well, to make sure we've got a comfortable project. We're not going to come in and change out things and make life miserable to sit in here. We're not going to do that. That's the worst thing we can do. So that's what we're asking for you now. the resolution has already been read, so you understand the resolution. If you have any questions on that. And any questions I can answer right now?
Questions, Mr. Moore? Thank you, Randy. Mr. Reed?
I think it's pretty straightforward, but just let me ask you again. Your proposal, which includes a third party that you're going to have to come in and confirm what you've done and then make other recommendations, that's your cost. That's part of the cost of the proposal. And if we were to not accept the proposal, that would be a cost you would have.
At that point right there, to bring in the third-party engineer, there is a cost associated with that. We're not there yet. What we want to do is come in and go through your buildings first to determine, yes, even further, there is an opportunity for you. That's when we come back and make another presentation to you.
Okay.
If we go to that step, that would need your approval to go to the investment road.
Mr. McAfee?
Just one question. On the energy savings, does that include reducing the amount of fresh air flow in the buildings?
Actually, what we do is we improve that. Part of training, what we do is, well, we make air. And what we do is, as part of the survey that we do through your building, even in the preliminary audit, we're going to take indoor air quality samples of your public buildings. Because we found some pretty horrendous things just at that stage right there.
Okay.
And so that's one of the things we want to make sure we address as well.
Okay.
Mr. Silverfield?
On the resolution, it says we're authorizing you to, if we pass this, authorizing you to conduct an energy preliminary study of the government buildings. Is that like through step 2, not into the engineer part where it would cost us money?
Right, not to the engineer part. What we want to do is come back to you again and show you, here's what we found. And this is a real good two-way street that we're going to have. But we want to come back and say, this is what we found, this is what we see can cash flow in a project for you. Now, and get your approval on that before we bring in a third-party engineer.
Thank you.
Other questions?
I think I'm right. On schools, we've already went through our schools and did a lighting thing with our schools, correct? On all our school buildings.
My understanding is you have, yes, sir.
Sir?
Yes, sir, my understanding is you have.
Yeah, we have.
Yes, sir.
Other questions? Thank you, Randy. Question has been called for. No objection to question being put. If you're in favor of this resolution, please vote yes and confirm. If you're opposed, vote no and confirm at this time. There's been 20 votes in favor, none opposed, and 4 absent. I declare that resolution approved. Thank you, Randy.
Thank you.
Recognize now Commissioner Garner from the Legislative Committee for support of the National No Texting While Driving movement. Mr. Garner.
Mr. Chairman, Madam Clerks, fellow commissioners, ladies and gentlemen in the audience, I bring to your attention resolution number 07-151-3056. Mayor Bradley identified this as resolution to affirm and support Ken Waite National Day of Action and nationwide No Texting While Driving movement. Second.
Second to this motion. Second by Commissioner Kevin Gray. Any discussion? Any discussion?
Question.
Question is called for. If you're in favor of this resolution, vote yes and confirm. If you're opposed, vote no and confirm. There have been 20 votes in favor and none opposed, and 4 absent. I declare that resolution approved. Come back to the other one under new business. First, let's see if there's any old business that needs to come before the body. Seeing none, I'm going to recognize Commissioner Bobby Jones under new business for the approval of sale of back tax property. Commissioner Jones.
Mr. Speaker, Madam Clerk, ladies of the Commission, and fellow commissioners, you have before you on your desk a resolution entitled "A Resolution to Approve Sale of Back Tax Property." That resolution number, the last 4 digits is 3057. I move for the adoption.
Second by Commissioner DeOrio.
A parcel of land on South Mount Pleasant Road, 2631 to be exact. It's a small parcel of land, 13/100 of an acre. Back taxes throughout the years, many years, have resulted in a tax penalty in taxes and uncollectible in the amount of $2,465. A gentleman, a neighbor of that property, Mr. Mark Slayton, had opposed, as given to the committee, a recommendation and a bid of $500 for this piece of property. I understand that $500 is not a lot of money, and that's what back taxes. However, it will put this back on the tax roll, and the committee will recommend that we accept this $500. And the reason it has to come before this committee because the bid is less than the taxes, and I recommend approval.
Any questions of Commissioner Jones? Everybody clear as to what we're doing here? Ready to vote? Question's been called for. If you're in favor of this resolution, vote yes and confirm. If you're opposed, vote no and confirm at this time. There are 20 votes in favor and none opposed and 4 absent. I declare that resolution approved. Now, Commissioner Garner, I'm going to recognize you for the Bike Trails resolution that also comes to you from the Legislative Committee.
Mr. Chairman, Madam Clerks, fellow commissioners, ladies and gentlemen in the audience, bring to your attention resolution number 071513058. It's a resolution, County of Robertson, stating its support for the development of U.S. Bicycle Route 23. Getting a second.
So second to the motion. Second by Commissioner Farmer.
I'll just put a comment aside on this. This is a proposal that came by way of the Legislative Committee. There's not any cost to the county, but it suffices to say there's a series of bicycle routes throughout the nation that this particular group, the American Association of State and Highway Transportation Officials, as well as another private group that is putting together maps, and they have asked for a small route in northeastern part of the county to fit into that project, just for official designation, one of the counties.
They think that if we designate this area, it could have a positive impact in terms of tourism and so forth. So I think it's a win for them and certainly a win for us. Any questions? Question been called for. If you're in favor of this resolution, vote yes and confirm. If you oppose, vote no and confirm at this time. Mr. Gray? It may be a battery. If it is, you have a battery out of this one. Then it. There being 20 votes in favor and none opposed and 4 absent, I declare that resolution approved. I recognize now Commissioner Lanny Adcock, who's chairman of the Budget Committee. And Mr. Davis remains a member of this body, and after Commissioner Adcock has got his motion on the floor and a second, then we'll make Mr. McAnulty and anyone else possibly need to member this body. Commissioner Adcock.
Madam Clerk, fellow commissioners, ladies and gentlemen of the audience, I requested this resolution to be brought back up. I've talked with the school director. He came to the budget committee. We were discussing some issues. This involves the $425,000 that they've requested to do the architectural work for the new school. We've talked about it 2 or 3 different times. I think it's been on the floor 2 or 3 times. What they've asked to do this time is to do a 3-year bond. It's an interest-only bond. It's a capital outlay note is what it is, not a bond. And the school board has agreed to pay the interest on it. And I'd ask that Mr. Davis come up and speak on this and kind of explain where they're at.
Thank you, Chairman Adcock. What we're proposing is exactly what he said, is to ask for you to vote to fund $425,000 for architectural engineering fees. And we will pay the interest on that note for the duration, the next 3 years for the duration of that note. It's up to a 3-year note, 2 to 3 years. Today, I went by the bank to apply for a loan. And I had my interest rate locked in on Friday. Had I applied for that loan 3 months ago, it would have been a full percentage lower than what it was today. So interest rates are beginning to rebound and come back. I don't know, I don't think they're going to get outrageous, but it's going to cost you more next month and 6 months down the road than it's going to cost us now. Once these plans have been developed and specifications have been developed, they would, and it'll take some time to do that. It takes several months, in fact. They have to go before the fire marshal's office to be reviewed and approved. Once that's done, then we have to send them out to bid, and then all of that process is going to take anywhere from a year to 18 months as we go through this whole process of putting a building on the site that we have. So I talked to Ms. Stewart, and I think we agree that what you don't want to do is incur any additional bond indebtedness until you have some bonds that are retired that you're currently servicing from your bond debt. I think that's correct, Stewart. And I've talked to Mr. McAnally, and I think we can structure it in such a manner that that would be what would happen. You would not have to incur any additional bond service or servicing any additional bonds until the present bond indebtedness is reduced somewhat. And I think you told me 2015, 16 year it's supposed to go down substantially. So that would put us on track to make all of these things fall in place as we go forward. We really need to get this thing off Fed Center, get it started. It's not something we need to kick down the road for a long time. As I told you earlier, we have nearly 1,000 students already attending classes in portable classrooms. When this building's built, our goal is to try to get most, if not all, of those students out of that situation. And I think it's a good thing for Robertson County. It's a good thing for the youth. It's a good thing for all of us. And it's not going to cost you. It's not going to take any money from your fund balance, or you're not appropriating any new money, or anything. There's no new taxes associated with this at this point, and it hopefully won't ever have to be. So that's what we want to do. Once this thing is accomplished and we really go forward with the bond to build the building, this $425,000 will be rolled over into that bond indebtedness, and that's how we'll service it. I'd like to answer any questions you might have concerning that.
The chair has realized that we didn't technically get a second to Mr. Adcock's motion. If I could get a second, then we'll get it for discussion. Second by Commissioner Farmer. Thank you, sir. Yes.
Tom McAnulty.
Tom McAnulty, our advisor from Stevens, is here. Chair will entertain a motion to make Mr. McAnulty a member of this body. Have it by Commissioner DeOrio and second by Commissioner Vogel. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. So Tom, if you will, come up and share with us information that you have about this particular process. Mr. Tom McAnulty, Stevens Incorporated.
Yeah. Let me just get one copy and you'll hand out the rest of them. Well, you can go ahead and hand them out. I got one here. This young lady here, I believe. No, it's not a copy. It's just one copy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Everyone have a copy. McAnulty, you have the floor.
Oh, okay, thank you. Well, it's always a pleasure to visit Robertson County and see old friends, and I think people who've been working hard for the county of Robertson County for a long time. When they called me Friday afternoon, Miss Jody gave me Friday afternoon and a little bit today to help get this developed. I'm just kidding with her. I think Mr. Davis, Mr. Adcock made it pretty clear what they were trying to do, is that going through this whole building process, and I will have to say this about Mike, he has experience with school buildings, that's for sure. He's been involved with a bunch of school buildings in Wilson County, and he's very familiar with the process. What they want to do is to have enough money to hire the architect and then do all the design specifications, take bids, and get ready for a possible bond issue. And I believe Jody has said it'd be best to put it off for his payment of it until 2015. My only observation would be is that, let me just say this, from where you are right now, if interest rate goes up 1%, and I used a figure of $20 million as far as a bond issue, we don't know what it will be, but I just assume $20 million for the school building program. That would cost an additional $3 million if it just goes up 1%. So that's something to think about, is to when you might want to get into the market, is when, if interest rates continue to go up, you might decide it's cheaper to do the capitalized interest and to issue the bonds than it is to wait for the interest to get to the higher level. So you're talking about around 4% right now for 20-year bond issue. And so this resolution is called a 3-year capital outlay note resolution. You would issue it, and then you would ask the Comptroller of the Treasurer's Office to approve it, with the understanding that you would not pay any principal on this note until, unless you didn't do anything within 3 years. You got 3 years to do what you need to do. So once they approve that, then we would work with Jody and the Finance Department and the mayor, who would have to sign all the documents, and the county clerk have to sign all the rest of the documents too. Work to obtain bids from primarily your local banks. They would it would be a bank qualified issue, meaning that the interest earnings off of the bond issue that they receive would be tax exempt to the bank. So we feel like that there would be an interest in buying those capital outlay notes. We've got it set up to where you can do it in multiple issues if you want to. But I think for the amount that you're talking about, it'd probably be better just to go ahead and borrow it all at one time and get the low rate than it would be to try to put it off and do part of it now and part of it later. So, because you're talking about it at 4%, you're talking about around $16,000 a year for the to pay on the interest. Now, I can go into details of the resolution. It'll be issued for a 3-year final termination of the note, but it's callable any time. There's no premium to call it, and all you have to do is usually give just a 30 days notice. Some banks you don't even have to do that. So it's very simple to get out of the notes when you want to and when you issue your bonds. So I don't know how much details you want me to go through, but I'll be glad to answer any questions. And
have a question by Commissioner DiOrio.
Mr. McAnulty, if we do this interest-only loan, is that going to have any rate, any negative effect on our bond rating?
No.
None?
No. You were an A+ by S&P the last issue. We're going to consider maybe looking at Moody's this next time, because of their time we got that you moved from Moody's to S&P, because back to the financial crisis of 2008, it was in your best interest to try to get the best rating at that time. And S&P had already made adjustments to their rate. Moody's had not. So we may look at Moody's, but you don't need a credit rating on this, and it would not have any bearing on the other issue.
Mr. Garner.
I don't want to pick on him, but the only one I know to pick on is Mr. Adcock. This did not go through the Education Committee, did it?
Well, actually, what I requested, and our finance director brought it back to me with the resolution that we failed. And the reason that we were bringing it back, and maybe it should have went through the Education Committee, was the time issue.
Okay.
Trying to get this approved before the rates jump back up again.
Well, and I understand the rates, and I understand where you're coming from the budget standpoint with the bottom line. It's just some of the things that have come up in our discussion about this concern me to the extent of it seems like the reasons or the rationale behind the project have somewhat changed, and now that we're strictly looking at overcrowding. And a lot of the sense of urgency that I've observed over the last several months has to do with the federal investigation. So, I mean, that's where a consideration of the Education Committee, I think, comes into play with this, is if we're shifting what the reasons or rationale would be, some of the presumptions or assumptions that we've had over the last several months have somewhat changed, in my opinion. So, I mean, I would just take that into consideration here.
That's my fault. I was trying to get the resolution approved, and I didn't know how significant all these points were, so it's my fault not including it. If we could just amend the resolution to include all those reasons, if that's a question, because I was doing most of the typing,
Sure.
trying to get the resolution prepared, and it appeared to me that the overcrowding was a major issue, and not that the others were not.
Well, and I can understand that, and I appreciate the position you're in, but with us not having an opportunity to meet with the new director on some of this, I think it would just be wise for us to consider some of that with the new director before this is just put on us with, again, such urgency. Here we are again, and just some of the discussion we've had about this, it seems like a shift from overcrowding, and I've not heard the sense of urgency about the federal investigation here. So that's just, as a member of the Education Committee, that's just an observation that I'm making here.
Chair's going to recognize Mr. Davis again to respond to that.
I had a meeting with Mr. Whitlow and the board attorney about a week before I came on board, and I have been read into the Department of Justice and what they are looking at, and the Department of Justice was notified about our site and how it would meet our needs in the district. When they were given all the facts, they informed our attorney that this would be a step in the right direction for the district to take as far as resolving that issue as well. So it's a win-win from that perspective. Overcrowding is a huge issue, and the safety of the students has to be first. I regret that I haven't had an opportunity to sit down and talk with the Education Committee, but I think we did have a meeting when I wasn't the director at that point, but we had a joint meeting over at the board office a month or so before I came on board, the Education Committee. Several people were there from the committee and asked several questions, and I think it is something that needs to be considered, but it is urgent. We need to do it. We need to get started, at least have a starting point. That's something else we can go forward with, both with the Department of Justice and also addressing the overcrowding issue. It's going to go a long ways in addressing both issues.
Mr. Brown.
Yeah, and this may be Mr. Davis. Have you read the actual emails from the Department of Justice? I read those emails, and it was basically one, they really weren't so worried about the school. It was a very short email, actually, and they were much more concerned about the zoning issues within that. And if the school made it, great, but that was not their primary concern.
You're exactly correct, Commissioner. What they're wanting from us as we move forward, we're going to have to submit a plan that addresses that very issue, and I think we can do that, and at the same time address the overcrowding in those schools that it's going to impact. So it will work. We're talking about 2 years from now. I don't know what the population is going to be 2 years from now in those schools, and how that's going to be. At that point in time, that's when we need to address how we're going to rezone those lines. Yes, sir.
Commissioner Jackson.
Mr. Adcock, don't we have $1 million coming out next year out of that bond that's supposed to go down some for the library?
That comes out actually out of this year's budget. Yes.
End of February.
Yeah, we've already discussed that through the budget committee. I don't know if it's appropriate time to discuss it. What we've had a committee member propose, that money was supposed to come out of debt service, that $1 million. Our general fund balance is much better than our debt service by about $1 million. And what one of the committee members has suggested that we bring it back to the county commission, instead of taking it from debt service, take it from our general fund balance, which will help us when we get ready to borrow some money, to keep our fund balance up in our debt service. But that money will come out of this year's budget, actually in February.
Other questions? Mr. McAnulty, Mr. Davis, or Commissioner Adcock?
Mr. Bowens?
Mr. Bowens.
Hi. I thought this was supposed to be an information committee, information for the committee commission as a whole. And then that would give them a month, when you go back to the education committee, they can vote on this. Then we'll come back in August and vote on this resolution and talk about bond participation.
That's the prerogative of this body. As to when you,
I'll make a motion.
as to when, well, we have a motion and a second on the floor right now. And the motion to table supersedes that, but if that's, the motion that's on the floor is the one that Commissioner Adcock has suggested and has been seconded.
I'll make a motion that we table the motion that's on the floor. Second.
In order for the Education Committee to meet before the August meeting and to bring this back to the body in August for consideration. Is that your motion, Commissioner Bowens? And second by Commissioner Garner. Any discussion of that motion?
Question.
Questions called for. If you're in favor of Commissioner Bowens' motion, duly seconded by Commissioner Garner, vote yes and confirm. If you're opposed, vote no and confirm at this time. There being 14 votes in favor, 6 opposed, and 4 absent, I declare that resolution has passed. So, gentlemen, we'll be back in August. Continuing session. Is there anything else under new business? Mr. Doug.
I have a question. When we last met, the last commission meeting, we voted money to go to the 911 board, and we left here with the feeling that perhaps with that gesture that Springfield and White House might stay with us, and as we see that did not happen.
Yes.
So we sit here tonight, and the question was posed to me, and I want to ask the rest of the commission here. The E911 board is composed of people in the county that maybe don't have the interest in it on the county level now that they once did. I do know that when White House came on board, because I was on the commission then, that one of their stipulations was that they have a seat on the 911 board. Well, now they're not in the 911 system that we're in, and yet they still have a seat on the board. And the question was raised to me, do we have the county representation on the board, the people making the decisions that this affects?
Yes, I understand what you're saying, and of course that is subject to be changed anytime when those terms come up or when the commission decides to address that. Of course, I will say I think this continues to be a work in progress, and it may look very differently 6 months from now than it does right now as far as either Springfield or White House is concerned. But no one can certainly guarantee that. But Commissioner Spears, would you care to comment on that question since you deal directly with that?
I'm sorry, I didn't catch
Well, it had
on.
to do with the makeup of the E911 board, that now there are representatives from Springfield and White House who are on the board, even though they are not part of the 911 system in a consolidated sense, that they are separate. And I don't know who those people are. I know the Springfield Police Chief is a member, and someone from White House is a member. Is it the city manager?
We have more, as a matter of fact, we have more Springfield on the board, on the 911 board. And I can't see Susan as I'm speaking, but the chief and as a matter of fact, Russell is on the board, and RL. So there
So there is
are
a preponderance of county-connected
The
officials
county
there.
is, our meeting is in the morning, and I talked with Jason just an hour before we got to this meeting, and things are going very well with it. And as a matter of fact, what we intend in the morning is to go over several of the pay plans that has been brought to our attention, as well as the new director is hiring this, and as well as talking with Pam Bagwell, as well as going ahead and getting some ideas on the new director as well.
But with the exception of the chief of police, is there anyone on the Springfield, is there anyone from the city of Springfield that's part of the 911 board?
On the
Yes. Who is there anyone besides the Springfield Police Chief that is part? The fire chief?
We have, Mr. Gallagher is.
Yes, but I mean, they don't work for the city of Springfield.
No. Well, Russell,
Well, Russell works for us. He's county.
Russell Bethel.
he's county, right.
And Mr. Douglas is county.
No, David Thompson is.
He's the only one.
Yes.
That's what I thought, but I wanted to be sure. Well, that's something the nominating committee can certainly consider, but, and is there the city of White House does have a representative?
On the 911 board.
Yes. Do they?
No,
The sheriff says they do not, so
I
we'll.
don't think so.
Okay.
No.
Commissioner Jackson.
I think what she's getting confused is some of them, they have what they call a
The
user
user
board.
board,
A
yes.
user, he is, yes.
And they have a Springfield Police Chief there, and also the Springfield Fire Chiefs on it, White House
Yes.
City.
Yes.
And both White House.
But they are not part of the E911 board.
No, they're on the user.
Okay. Let's hope this works out, but we aren't there yet. Anything else under new business? Commissioner Vogel?
Chair, this is probably more of a meeting, but some other people might know. The Budget Committee has canceled Thursday's meeting, right?
Budget Committee has,
And we're gonna meet Tuesday at 1:30, is that right?
that is
1
correct.
o'clock
Let me check.
next
1 o'clock.
Tuesday. Man, I'm doing that for me, but if anybody else is wanting to know.
Yes, the meeting on Thursday, July 18th has been canceled. The committee will meet on July 23rd at 1 p.m.
And that's a Tuesday, next Tuesday.
Okay, anything else on the new business? Seeing none, I'm going to recognize Commissioner Bobby Jones for the election of notaries.
Commissioners, you'll find in your packet is a list of applications for notaries for Robertson County and State of Tennessee, and I'll move the bill.
Is there a second? Second by Commissioner McAfee. All those in favor say aye. Chair will entertain a motion to adjourn. Motion by Commissioner Stubblefield and second by Commissioner Brown. All those in favor say aye. We stand adjourned.